mother, Hala Attia. She's going to be leading a discussion, just reflecting on the movie and sharing her thoughts. And also my aunt, Maha Attia, will be helping her. And she just came back from Egypt a couple weeks ago. She was there during the protests out in the streets. She participated and was part of the change in that country. So I'll hand it up to them.
Hello. Like after we watch this movie, you will see that the power of like believing in what you're doing and have a strong feeling about it, and then start doing something and keep on doing it. It's something that I live with, and this is what something happened in Egypt, that people were really upset of the regime and the corruptions, but everybody was scared. But when they are together, they start moving, and they did something never happened, that the peaceful change to something good. And my sister was privileged to be there, and she was there in Tahrir Square, which is very close to where we live. And people with their bodies and just being together and sharing the same feeling that they need to change the system, they need to change the corruption and have better life and better, like have the use of the Egypt with all the resources for the people. And they did that, women, children, and men. All so Maha will say that she did there, because she was there.
Everyone is helping there, even as an old woman or old man, about maybe 80 years old, will go there and helping each other. And in the beginning, the old government surrounded the Tahrir Square, and they're allowed to give him food or water or whatever. So we try to help him and give money, collect money from everyone, even the poor people pay for that, and give him a blanket and food and medicine, because one day is the other side, they throw the medicine in the Nile. So we try to give him
being strong and staying together, and I think that's what make the change from what's like hopefully would be good. It's still a long way to go, but everybody felt like they have to share and they have to be there. So millions of people were walking in Tahrir.
4 million.
4 million, sometimes one of them.
Yes.
So this is our story. This is about Egypt. But now we can discuss whatever you're feeling about the movie and what you can do. And you're still young, and you have to have your convictions about something. And let's see what everybody will say about.
Help each other, even the religion, different religion, different sects or whatever, and we divide the food with each other, and we try to help each other.
So who want to have a questions or want to start discussion about what you saw? Oh, yes.
I thought it was really interesting, and I don't know if this is a result of like mindedness or if it's just lack of exposure. But I don't really think of AIDS and HIV being such a problem in Vietnam or other parts of Asia. It's more centralized in Africa and it's I thought it was interesting to see the impact that's happening there.
I just thought it was really powerful to see how hard these people are fighting to get an education and how much they love learning, and we kind of take for granted everything we learn in Baldwin, and we like cram before a test and then kind of forget everything, and I think that it makes us, we should really appreciate
the
our
daily life.
education.
Did you see the daily life, how we like for electricity, for food, see how much are we privileged? And that's why we have to have a conviction to do something about the world and use the youth. Like you have to feel like you can change. If you really want to change something, you can do it. And there's many ways, and you have to keep on doing it. And you have to feel like how much you're privileged and living in here and have all the freedom and have all the whatever you like is there. hard for it. So just something very nice.
Just to piggyback off what she's saying, we are very privileged here at Baldwin, and we don't really think about where our education comes from, or like how we're our tuition's really expensive. And right now, a couple of my classmates and I are putting together an open mic night for the month of April to raise money for 2 girls at education in Africa. It costs $1,575 for 2 girls to go to school for a whole year, and it costs about $30,000 for each of us to go to Baldwin. And I'm pretty sure if you guys really reflect on that fact, then you can come to a resolution that you can find that you can help in some way or somehow. So I hope people really show up to that. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to make a comment about the woman from Bosnia. So I think a lot of people in our culture, just in general, think that, oh, if I start a little change, it might not, get noticed by my friends or my community or even the world. But I thought it was very inspirational that the woman could start the Raspberry Co-op, and then I think it was the Prime Minister actually came and acknowledged it. So I thought that was inspirational that it was a very small step, and it was noticed by someone of importance. So that's something that we should all, learn from. That if you have an idea, you should, take action on it, because it could be noticed by everyone. It could grow.
And small step like you're saying, but see how many lives we touch and how a lot of the community get together and it felt like they can do something. I think losing hope in these people was more destructive than anything else. But when you have a hope that you can change, and little by little, just getting justice for whatever the employee was doing to the girl, you give you power, you give you something to keep you going. So this is hope, another thing.
Okay, I just wanted to comment again on the Raspberry Co-op and to talk about how a lot of times.
Yeah.
Hello. So about the Raspberry Co-op and how I think a lot of people, when they're talking about charity, it's easy to get very discouraged because the problems are very large, and a lot of the way people look at charity is they look at it sort of, gathering resources and giving them to people. And I think that especially recently, just maybe in the past decade, the view of charity is changing into sort of a teach a man to fish versus give a man to fish. And I think that, to me, is things like the co-op, things like microfinance, sustainable ways like propping people up and giving them opportunity versus giving resources themselves. And I just wanted to encourage everyone, if you're thinking about donating to charity, there are a lot of microfinance organizations, and there are a lot of things like that where if you feel like your money for charity or your community service isn't going anywhere, that these are more sort of sustainable long-term options. And I thought that was very cool.
Empower the person with education.
Mm-hmm. So education or a loan to start would be sort of a more effective way to help someone sustain themselves for a long period of time.
Here's your turn.
Mine's not as specific as Wendy's, but I guess just what Madame Urbane was saying at the end, where it's if you're educated, you have to share it. And I think Nabel and other people are talking about how we kind of forget how smart we actually are in this little microcosm of Baldwin. And I think especially for seniors excited to go to college next year, it's kind of getting that perspective of this is your purpose of going to college is having the education to use it. So I think things, especially study abroad, that are not necessarily only studious, that are, charity or just going to an area and empowering people and teaching them. I think you have to have a bigger outlook on your education.
Yeah, if you have to finish or 1 year for you don't have to gain anything, just giving them your knowledge or the way. You're not going to give them money or anything, just to give them education and give them your time.
Because that girl's even excited to just do her address.
Exactly. Just a very small thing that will empower people and make them have them hope to continue and be so.
I just thought that the
video was really inspirational to give these girls and even the men like purpose in their life, because like we spend every single day go 5 out of 7 days going to school and then just doing sports and the arts and other things like that, and we have the capability of fulfilling our days with things that benefit us or benefit others, and just to see all the people in the video be able to benefit themselves just with the simple education of going to learn the alphabet or just work for 12 to 15 hours a day. They're just education for them was almost like an outlet to escape from that and just be able to soak it up.
Of the 3 women featured in the film, Han, Madame Urbain, and Nada, was there one whose story impacted you most, and why?
The woman's story in Vietnam really was inspirational to me because she wasn't necessarily she was helping with research and things, but also she was changing, as they said, the stigma, which was in communities that was really oppressing people who are sick, like her, who didn't do anything wrong. Her husband was a drug user, and that got her sick. I saw a woman speak with HIV, and she was a pastor's wife. And she's from this area. She was so nice and such a sweet woman. She had never done drugs. She had never slept with anyone but her husband. And then he made one mistake, and that got her infected, and it changed her life, and it ruined her life. So I think not even necessarily only in Vietnam, but the woman's story kind of changed how people look at people with the disease, because it opened eyes to the fact that people with these illnesses aren't bad people. They didn't even have to do anything wrong to get infected. And I think that it was just a really great way of expressing that, and seeing her success at the end and showing, she said that people with the disease aren't horrible, they can even be lovely. And I thought that was really nice.
I agree with Natalie. I really enjoyed the story of the Vietnamese one. And I liked at the end the quote that she was saying kind of as the film was wrapping up. So her life has meaning because she helped people, and that's kind of, that reminded me, okay, in my English existentialism class, we discussed the meaning of life, and a lot of people had different, ideas about that, and I kind of agree with the woman in this film that, the meaning of life should be to help others and to do, as much as you can for everyone else, so I thought that was interesting.
And there were so many women who kept saying, I need to work, I want to work. And when we look at the world right now with the economic downturn, it becomes a more dangerous world when there are a lot of people out there who have no jobs, who have no work, and lose their sense of value. I think that came out really loud and clear in that particular part of the world.
I was really inspired by Madame Urbain from Mali, because I noticed that even beyond the work she was doing, she had a consistently positive attitude, and I think that, along with the work she was doing, really affected the women she was working with. Obviously, you saw that the women she was dealing with had gone through really horrible things, but her ability to keep a positive outlook, I think, made their outlook more positive, and I think that's a lesson that we can all learn, that it's your outlook as well as your actions.
I found all their stories equally inspirational, but I thought Madame Urbain's story could be related to all of us, because I know she said when she visited her father's grave that she really owed all her success and everything she did to her father for sending her to get an education. And I think that being part of the luckiest people in the world, getting such a great education, that we have to use it like Madame Urbain and give back to our communities and really make a difference.
I think that Madame Urbain was the most inspirational, because it's when I saw that their parents said that they thought that their kids, especially the girls, were just given to them by God or to work for them. I think that was really sad, because I know how much my parents love me and they want me to learn and they want me to succeed, so that one day I can be successful. And I think that she's really inspirational because she helps everyone. I mean, telling her parents still care for them. She does.